As I stood behind the podium at my promotion celebration, she lifted her champagne glass with a gleaming smile and said, "To my husband, the biggest failure I've ever met." Laughter rippled through the room, and something in me cracked. They were all cheering me on, celebrating my achievements. Yet in that moment, I felt like the punchline of a twisted joke. People say success is the sweetest revenge. But what they don't tell you is how empty it feels when the one person who is supposed to believe in you the most doesn't. Over the past decade, I'd built everything from the ground up: a booming real estate firm, the dream home we shared, a reputation for turning losses into lessons. Yet Emily, my wife, always seemed to focus on what was missing instead of what I had created. We met in college. She was captivating, driven, and full of energy, the kind of woman who commanded every room. I adored her, but somewhere along the way, that fierce confidence turned into something cutting. What used to inspire me began to tear me down. It started subtly, a joke here, a dismissive look there. But eventually, her digs became blunt, even cruel. The celebration at the downtown Hilton was supposed to be a shared victory. She helped pick out my suit, worked with my assistant to organize the night, even chose a venue. But standing there listening to her mock toast, I realized she'd orchestrated the whole evening for her own performance. Laughter died awkwardly as colleagues shifted in their seats, unsure of how to react. I forced a grin and lifted my glass, but my hand shook. I glanced at her, searching her face for some sign of regret. All I found was a razor-edged smirk, like she enjoyed watching me squirm. The ride home was unbearable. Silence clung to the air as she scrolled through her phone, lips occasionally curling into a smug little smile. "You didn't have to say that," I muttered, keeping my tone even. "Say what?" she replied, acting clueless. "Calling me a loser in front of everyone." She laughed, a cold, heartless sound. "Oh, come on, David. Don't be so sensitive. It was a joke. Besides, it's not like they don't already think it." Her words struck harder than any drink ever could. I gripped the steering wheel, my knuckles pale. Later that night, I sat alone in my home office with a glass of scotch, unable to shake the weight in my chest. That's when my phone buzzed. A message from her, but clearly not to me. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow." He's so pathetic. I stared at the screen, stunned. My heart thundered as the truth hit me. That message was meant for someone else. The days that followed blurred together in a storm of rage and clarity. I started noticing the signs I had ignored. Her secretive phone calls, impromptu business trips, and how she'd disappear into the bathroom with her phone. One evening, when she claimed she was going to yoga, I followed her. What I saw confirmed everything. She was at a cozy, dimly lit restaurant, sharing laughter with another man. She touched his arm, her smile glowing in a way I hadn't seen in ages. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I started gathering evidence. I reviewed our finances and discovered unauthorized transfers into a private account under her name. I hired a private investigator who handed me a thick file of damning photos, recordings, and details. Her lover was Richard, a mid-tier executive at her firm. Suddenly, everything made sense. The jabs, the distance, the contempt. It was all part of the story she'd written to justify betraying me. But I wasn't the fool she thought. I contacted my attorney, adjusted my will, moved assets into a private trust, installed discreet cameras around the house. And then came the smoking gun. Footage of her and Richard discussing their plan to drain my accounts and leave me with nothing. 2 weeks later, she hosted a dinner party. She insisted I come, even though I'd grown distant. I agreed. She was a perfect hostess, charming and polished, dazzling our guests with stories. I waited, patient. After dessert, I stood and tapped my glass. "I'd like to make a toast," I said, voice steady. Emily's eyes narrowed slightly, sensing something was off. To my wife, I continued, turning to her, for her drive, her ambition, and her creativity. "You've really outdone yourself." The room fell into an eerie silence. Then I clicked a button on the remote in my pocket. A projection lit up the living room wall. The video played. Emily and Richard, discussing their scheme. Gasps erupted. Her lover's voice was unmistakable. She lunged toward me, trying to grab the remote. I stepped aside. "Sit down, Emily. We're just getting started." "David, this isn't—" "Don't," I said, my voice firm. "You call me a loser, but let me tell you what a winner looks like." I revealed everything. The asset protection, the divorce already filed, the prenup that left her with nothing. "You wanted to destroy me," I said, voice rising. "But you forgot something. People like me, the ones you call losers, we know how to survive. We know how to turn pain into power." Her face twisted with rage. "You think this makes you better than me? You're pathetic, David." But her insults no longer pierced me. They only made me stronger. And then came the final blow. I told her Richard had been fired. Someone had anonymously informed HR their affair. His marriage was falling apart too. "I'm done letting you use me," I said, cool and final. "Clean up your own mess." She stormed out, slamming the door. The silence that followed was heavy. But for once, I welcomed it. In the weeks that followed, her life unraveled. Her career, her image, even her friendships collapsed under the weight of the truth. I, on the other hand, found peace. I finalized the divorce quietly, sold the house, moved into a new place, smaller, but mine. Starting over was scary, but it was also the most freeing thing I'd ever done. One night, gazing out from my apartment balcony at the city lights, I reflected on who I had become. Not a loser, a survivor, a man who faced betrayal and rose above it. Sometimes, I still hear her voice echoing my mind, but it no longer controls me, because in the end, I didn't just win. I walked away with my dignity. And that, more than anything, is the greatest revenge of all.